out with inns and taverns, and
Oh yeah.
probably more than we can really fit in.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
That's usually the case with our topics. We can.
It's always a
fill
good
more
thing,
than,
though.
yeah.
I mean, that's even without our usual tangents. So
Yeah. Well, we have to have a couple of them too.
we have to have a couple of them.
You and me, Jason, we are the worst tangenters in Gabbin history.
Oh my gosh, and also on Greyhawk. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were on chat the other night, and somebody goes,
Yeah.
they haven't breathed for 3 hours. They've just been talking, you know. Hey, if people want to get in the word, they got to push a little. I'll bet.
Yes. I have to say apology to a few people because I got into it too with you, Jason. That was so much fun.
Oh, no, I am. And I'll tell you, it's worth it. But boy, those guys are late night people.
I know, I can't do that.
Well,
they're
I'm
up
on the
at-
West Coast. That's the only reason I can do it. Yep.
Yeah, but I mean,
Well,
they're up at 4 and 5 degrees.
I know.
Like me.
Yeah. Yeah, but he doesn't have it. He's between jobs right now, so
I know.
Yeah.
It started out before Rich, where it was because of his, all the pills he was taking were, upsetting his system, and he was up at 3, 4 in the morning, and now I think he's gotten used to it.
It's having fun. So yeah. But it's fun. But to me, it's good. I usually up to like now in the winter I'm going over to winter setting because in the summer I always get up early before it gets hot to go out and my exercise. But now in the winter I can have more freedom and do it when fall, winter, during any time during the day, so I don't have to get up that early. So it's good.
I know I take an early bus to get out and do my stuff, and I like to get home before noon because it gets real traffic.
Yeah.
And with winter coming in, that gets harder and harder because you get up in the morning and it's like 20 degrees outside. So,
Yeah. Meaning winter here means it gets down in the 60s.
Yeah, I know. When I was up in Vermont, winter there meant like right now winter's starting. So they're going to have their first snow coming soon.
Yeah, that's the same thing in Sweden. Winter means that it's below freezing in temperature. That's winter on average.
Yeah, like I got up one time. I had to take the medical bus up there over to get some hospital visits in, and it is 24 below zero at noontime.
Oh my gosh.
And that's Vermont. That is Vermont. Vermont is cold. And what gets me is all the guys in Canada live north of there. Yeah.
Well, yeah. In Sweden, we've had minus 43 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
That's like minus 70 Fahrenheit or something like that, I think.
I know that's because
it's so cold that you instantly freeze to death if you don't have the right clothes.
And that is
Sparky.
Patrick. That's where Patrick is. He's way up there in Canada.
Yep.
He's way north, and I think David Leonard's pretty north too.
I think they're really far up. Yep. So I'm so happy. Southern California winters are just the kind of winters I like.
Yeah. Now, Delaware isn't bad, but I'm just not a cold weather person.
Oh, cool. It's early still. Not everyone's locked in on this 7 o'clock time yet. So
that's a sweet mini right there. Is that 3D stuff?
this is all Infinite Dimensions, including they're the ones that made the STL for the arena, which is next. So Bill's working on a lot of that. Yeah, we're not working on this bridge yet. The bridge is so huge.
That's something for a future battle somewhere.
Well, he's talking about we're going to do something with it.
I think that arena, that is so much use you can get out of it, and I think it's going to be like a favorite anytime that you do something special to dig out that arena for.
There it is. There. See, ours looks way better. I mean, that's nice, but ours is way better. This is from the ad. really did it up nice.
Oh, there's so many little things. I thought you could have a strip running down the middle that is, you know, like you turn it on and it's fire. So like there's a fire strip that suddenly appears separating the arena. You know.
Well, you never know what we'll come up with.
Oh, I know.
With our stuff, you know, we try to bring some inventive ideas. So, yeah.
But I like your topic for Wednesday. That was perfect. I
yeah, it just came to me. I was like, you know what?
Yep.
We haven't gone over humanoid deities yet, so.
We talked about it a little bit, but
yeah,
that
but
was
much.
a long time. Like
Yeah.
a year ago, I think we had something
Barely
about humanoids. Yep.
Have you ever gotten? I don't know. I never see him anymore. Once or twice, I have seen him most recently is on Cannon Fire. DM Prada. He's the one who did the deities list.
Okay, I remember that, Nick. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even know him.
All right. Well, you know, he's an old-time Cannon Fire guy. Gary must know him.
Oh, thanks, kid.
Yep.
Starting it off early there.
Oh, that's nice. Double wagon. That's very nice. Being pulled by the bull.
Oh yeah, this is all the gamescape. So
yeah,
we got a lot of. He comes out with stuff every month. We saw that on that big building in the back right there on Thursday. Yeah, you're gonna see.
Yeah, I like these huts and stuff.
Yeah, we got another one coming.
I love the
all this. We
mushroom.
got all that too. All that.
I love the mushroom one. That's in for pixies. Pixies.
I know.
On the
mushrooms. Good.
I need to kind of work out for myself how gnomes live.
Big Auger.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I think that their villages would almost be invisible because I'd see them as having, you know, like very little above them.
So everyone's still trying to adjust to the new time slot. So.
Oh, but
But it's worked. It works. So.
Oh yeah, it's so much better.
Yeah. Sunday night at 7 on Sunday night.
That's good.
Especially like last week, we went an hour-long bed. It's easier to go long when you were starting earlier. So.
Do we push Legends and Lore to 7 too?
You know, that would be a problem because of my son's soccer schedule.
Okay,
His soccer starts at 7.
That at 8.
Yeah, that actually works for me that night because
that's good.
He's
Either works for me.
5 more weeks. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up there, Michael? Michael, I got 2 things here for you still. Got one of the shirts you bought, and you're winning here from the Grotto. Hey, Mitch, good to see you, man. Hope everything's going well for you.
That's cool. So that seemed to be really nice. He was very active before. I hope he can come back to the community again.
7 in there. So. Because I'm under the impression that no matter how much you post, people really don't read ads. So if you change the time, you know.
You know
what I mean?
Yeah, I know. You really got to like knock him in the head with a hammer and still, you know, get them.
Absolutely. Okay. Start getting tonight. Taverns and Inns, Greyhawk Tavern Talk. Part of our Greyhawk campaign development series. just say, hey, the weekend sucked, you know, but.
I was kept a little busy getting back into today, and so.
She's saying they were on to like 4 o'clock in the morning last night talking. I mean, I think I left at like 1 a.m. and I was like,
I left at 11 in the evening. My
11
time.
your time, so 2 p.m.
Yeah.
2 a.m.
When Anna signed out, I knew, my God, I better go because,
wow,
you know,
as you know, because the West Coast, you're like, oh gosh.
Yeah, I'm usually on the last to go, and that is usually between 11 and midnight from my time.
Yeah.
Which is late for me.
Yeah.
Thoroughly drunk.
I mean, it's not that I don't get things done while we're chatting, but it's just it costs in the next day. And
Yeah.
my schedule around.
For me, it's good because especially when I'm working in Photoshop, it's perfect because it keeps me at my desk and I don't go doing other things. So it's good. It's another to have 2 reasons to stay at my desk. So it's actually good. So I've done a lot of progress this weekend. So
imagine. Yeah, like, progress is a good thing, though, Anna. You know, we're getting progress done. Like,
it's like I have my. Now I have a set of things I need to have done before the end of the year, and it looks like I might be able to pull it off.
Good.
Yep.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jay Keeler Gazumba for another fun and intriguing, and I'm making it up as I go along, of course. Gabbin tonight. With me is the great Anna Meyer, and I gotta think of and thorough Jason Zavoda. As you look at the Zavoda Index.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you guys are hearing me because I think that's a frozen picture.
Yes.
There.
So Jason's pick is going to go every 20 frames, but his sound is clear. So we'll live with that. We'll live with that for now.
There.
So how's everyone tonight here? As people are starting to get on this, like I said, not everyone is used to this 7 o'clock time slot, but we'll make it work here. Fun discussion going to be tonight, and it was nice for me to go back. Kind of at some of the old setups I had and all, but no worst tavern pub inn name you ever heard in fantasy RPG. The Third Leg.
Oh, the Third Leg.
How's that? You like that, Jason? I mean, you like that, Gary?
Yeah. Well, we've got a couple bad ones out there, so
yes. So we do. Yeah. Who knows? I mean, we've had that in ours. We've had. I have one that's way worse that I can't say on chat, and
I'll watch it myself.
It's from Highport when I played one-on-one with Tim. I can't even say it, or I'll get banned. Oh yeah. So not 1, not 2, not 3, but yes, 4 giveaways tonight. As I'm going to set that up as Triller Games last second. Of course, always Chuck says, "What are you doing tonight?" And I said, "We're doing the Taverns." Oh, well, you know, there's a brand new tavern in the 5e Gaxmore that's not in the old school Gaxmore, the Singing Siren. It's all brand new content in that new book, which I don't even have that. I have the old book. I don't have the 5e book, but I have some digital copies of it for in the new one here. And that's this one here, right? 5th edition role playing Lore City of Gaxmore. So we're gonna do 2 of those in digital. And we're also going to do in print, courtesy of Patrick here. We got a Shady Dragon and a Book of Taverns. Yes. And if this was the original Shady Dragon, this thing would be like $125 now. Isn't that insane? I mean, that's what it's like going for. So, that's a good one too. Thanks, Longshot. Oh my gosh, you guys are scaring me with all these names.
Well, I need to name a tavern in my campaign that two drinks minimum. I think that was so cool. So I need to.
Yes, 2 drink minimum.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And now we have my what do you call it? Shallots aren't showing up, so that's not good. Yeah, they're not. I can hear them, but they're not showing up. I wonder if they're hidden somehow. So
they will pop up all of them in 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, that's great. Always something. So let me do this here. Let me set up the giveaways. Giveaway, and we'll go from there. And please just note you got to be on to claim. Okay. So the Poisoner's Arts, that's interesting too.
Yeah.
Almost already too.
Sounds like one of the Drow City inns and taverns.
Yeah, that's weird. It's not showing.
Exactly. When they do drawing, they enter it. They
Let me switch
don't get
screens back and forth.
don't get a feedback.
Well, look at that. We already got. Thanks to Patrick, we already got a hype train, but we have no view on it. We have no view on it on either screen. That's weird.
Well, I'm seeing.
Yeah,
seeing
we have no views on them showing tonight. Don't know what that's all about with Streamlabs. You can hear it, but you can't see it. So don't know. There it is. Let me just put it all the way up to the top and see what happens. So hey, one of those things I don't know about. So thank you all though. It's always something in the technical world, right? With let me test something here. Yeah, not showing. Oh well. Sound, but no view on it. Maybe it'll pop up eventually. All right, so taverns tonight, as Jason's trying to get his technical issues fixed.
Yeah, I just got disconnected. I'm sorry.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. Jason's having, it's the bugaboos of Twitch tonight. Let me tell you. So let me switch back and forth one more time and see. So this discussion was Patrick's idea, and it's cool. Spine Castle is some pretty nasty establishments. I don't know anything. So Gary, I didn't even check on Spine Castle. Haven't even looked there. I got a lot of my base ones, but then I got some of the others that are of legend. And whoops, thanks, Scala. Yep, not showing. Please note it's in chat, and I appreciate the hell out of it. They're not showing up tonight for some reason. All right, I'm kind of lost here. My brain just shut off completely. Okay, now I remember. So, there are a lot that are in published source that are that you take your wonderful inspiration from, and those are everyone knows them, but there's some really great things that like you have Hamlet, and you got I went and got the Hamlet and the Orlane ones. Greyhawk, they're the ones I stuck to, but I guarantee you, there's pretty nasty establishments all over the place. And the question is, how many of those are like written down and utilized? Like, for example, the Spine Castle ones that Gary mentioned, I don't know any of them, none of them at all, because I don't play there, and I guess they're in published source, and that's are they in the Spine Castle article? So we're going to learn about. Hey Scott, good to see you. We're going to learn about a lot of them tonight, locations and maybe some quirks for each of them, and some neat things, and some things that may get discussed in your taverns, because everyone knows the tavern's like the starting place for our game, for D&D, and usually you start in an inn. I start in an inn all the time, so and thank you all. Those are all host sounds you hear, but you can't see it. Something is going on both screens. So Jason, you still there?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right.
Jason is frozen, but he can hear his sound completely. So Hamlet is where it all starts, and I want to show something, and we'll go to this screen here. No, it does. It doesn't. It really doesn't, Gary. It doesn't need a Volo guide. So yeah, and thank you for that gift sub for Patrick, for Lehman the Blue there. Really appreciate it. Yeah, and Lehman, if you can, please feel free to hit the follow button as well. So here you go, and it's not showing. Oh my God, Jay. Here we go. I hit the wrong screen. Here we go. Hamlet. The legendary Hamlet has an iconic inn, right? And it is the inn of the Welcome Wench. It is a wonderful place. Osler Gundagoot's there. He's been there for ages. But I've done returns where he's still there. John at Blue Box just had it there. John almost like destroyed all of Hamlet too. I'm not sure if I'm going to have that follow through, but yeah, there's a lot of wonderful iconic things. And what's really cool is that people are always doing things and making changes to it and enhancing it. And I want to give you an example of that. This is what Frank at Nightheart Gaming did for the menu for the Inn of the Welcome Wench for the stream during Greyhawk Con. Made a really nice like parchment piece and put like, what was available. And I think these are pulled right out of the game. But everyone's always making things, which is neat for this location. And that's just some of the touches and enhancements you can have. So Jason, Anna, I know Anna says one of the few ones you've ever played in. Do you have any memories of the original inn that everyone knows?
Welcome Wench. Yeah, that's where because I played in the second DM we had. That was the first kind of slightly persistent campaign. That he ran Hamlet and Temple of Elemental Evil, but he set it in his own setting. So I didn't know much about Greyhawk back then. I just bought the box, but not read it yet. So I remember the Welcome Wench, and one of the funny things was that there was a trader in the village, and we had a guy that no one liked in the town where I grew up. So that sold stuff, and he was so mean and treated his customers badly. So we used him as an example of it. So that was kind of. It was kind of funny. So that was the first kind of RP, but the inn was kind of the home. Unfortunately, there was nothing special that happened at the inn as far as I remember, unfortunately, so to speak. So it was kind of, but that was the inn of the Welcome Wench. But I remember the menu because I played run Hamlet afterwards for another group, so to speak. And then we've been back to Hamlet several times after, and I love there's the Valunian Fire Amber, I think, and Pomage Black, and a couple of other
Kiwish Golden, Ernst White, Furiandi, Emerald Pale, Valunian Fire Amber, Celine Ruby, which I got. That's where I got mine. Sundish Lilac. Yeah, they're all on there. Wine by the pint, which is really
it's so cool. So some of that menu I learned from the first time I was there, and I would always remember it since. So it's kind of, I think that's part of the fun, so to speak, to add stuff like that to the local flair. I'm going to
and the local flair is a really cool thing to add in with especially in Greyhawk. It just gives it so much flavor, here. And that's why I think I was drawn in when I first got this adventure because of like, oh, wow, man, they named other locations for these the alcohols. That was pretty smart thinking, know? So,
Yep. I've done the same thing in Aldet. I have a menu that it's such a poor place. So the standard is turnips. That's
oh my gosh!
Because one of the few things that can actually grow there, so to speak. So and the drink they have the one that is the favorite among the locals is the table turner. It's strong fermented turnip with if you want to experience real misery, that's what the menu says. So yeah.
Real misery?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
Oh, that's funny.
That's the cheapest. It's the cheapest one, so you get it almost for free. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Well, that's cool. And a good thing, a good start off there. Go ahead, Jason.
Well, like for me, the Welcome Wench, I ran a 6 or 8 month campaign through Temple, And so at first, the Welcome Wench is the base of operations. You've nowhere else to stay. So everybody sets up shop there, and they're doing their recruiting, and then they got into like several fights, and they had this drunken carouse with Otis and his brother there, and the assassins that were promised attack at that time. So we had this massive fight going on in the main room that kind of starts out as a brawl, and people are throwing beer mugs at the assassins, and there's a general fight going on there. And really for week after week, we would be exploring the area and doing the moat house, and then on to Nulb, and then on to the temple. But the Inn of the Welcome Wench really was this wonderful center in the village, because you're not going to stay with Bern and Rufus in their tower. You're going to stay at the Welcome Wench.
Right.
And it was, and all the people that you're meeting, you're getting the travelers coming down that road because it's a big road coming down from Verbabank into the Cron Hills. So there's all this caravan. That's why it's such a little village, and yet this huge inn.
Right,
Yeah,
it's the main point of the adventure, really, in Hamlet. I mean, it is where it's where all the hobnobbing happens, because you may go into the Tower of Rufus and Burn, but once, if you're lucky in there. So hey, no problem, Scott.
It actually appears in a few different things. Gygax mentions it back in Artifact of Evil, but also Elizabeth Moon. She actually used Hamlet and the Inn of the Welcome Wench in her books, The Deeds of Paxenarian.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, she's in Hamlet, and actually at the first they're exploring the Temple of Elemental Evil. So she added that in her first
I did not know that.
Paxenarian book.
I was unaware that that was in there. Wow, that's pretty cool. Awesome. So look, the floor plan's there for the Inn of the Welcome Wench, very detailed. I mean, for the 70s, you got menu, you got people moving in and out, you got NPCs all over the place. So it's a great focal point for storytelling and for going on missions. And a lot of people, you gotta just note with Hamlet, it's basically a sandbox area. It does have the moat house, but from there you gotta develop your own adventures out of there, because you can't go from Hamlet to Null. You can't go from the moat house to Null to the temple. You just can't do it. It's not meant that way, and you can fill it in with your own topic. Just how welcoming is Welcome Wench? It's very welcoming there, Patrick. Everyone there's all friendly, and ostlers. The whole town for the most part is a friendly town. So yeah. Yeah, and you could do that, Cathay. Yeah, Tavern Tire. Yeah, absolutely. The first floor is pretty easily made up. And so if you see this map below me, I'm going to show something that I did as an experiment on one of the other towns. So, you know what? Let's do that. So everyone knows that there's certain adventures I haven't run at all in that are classics. And one of these was against the Cult of the Reptile God. So, and everyone knows Orlane is like a big community, right? But I changed the name to Lorraine, and I placed it here in the Wild Coast, because that was where my campaign was going, and it fit perfectly in with what was going on with the Norwell Headhunters. And and this is the second, as Anna said, wow, as far as this was the second full town I fit on my table. I fit the entire town of Orlane/Lorraine on the tabletop. And there are two noted inns, bars and inns here. And my table, they're almost right next to each other. So you have this one here, and that is the Inn of the Slumbering Serpent.
Yeah.
And then you have the Golden Grain Inn. Now, the Golden Grain Inn is, if you haven't played it, I don't want to give you any spoilers away, but that is one where there's badness happening. And if you look below, you see these maps. So someone, I don't know where, I think I got them off of DeviantArt, printed these maps out, had these in capability, and I'm thinking, for this, with having the whole town, I don't have room on the table to do full, what do you call it, Dwarven Forge setups of all these. I'm just going to get these, and I'm going to blow them up and print them. And so what I came up with for these towns, especially with all the cultists, what's going on in the Golden Grain as they're trying to waylay everyone in the middle of the night. You get this. Let's see here, and Golden Grain. I have them in alphabetical order. You would think. Where did they? Oh, there it is, Golden Grain. So that's an upper floor fight with some thugs. So that's what I did. I printed them out. I had them printed at Staples and took it. And it works pretty well. So wow, they flagged Wench in the chat. That's hysterical. So just an idea for you, if you're using some miniatures and stuff, is that you don't always have to, and it's like with underlays on and there's the lower level of it. of the Welcome Wench, and I'm not Welcome Wench, just to me, the Golden Grain Inn in Orleans, and it worked. It worked pretty well. You just gotta get it to a size where miniature play, 1 square 5 feet or 1 square whatever you want is, and then you can do that. But those, this was a place where there were 2 inns in published source. One being
3 actually.
Oh, the third one's closed. Right?
Oh, the foaming mug.
Yeah, the foaming mug is the one where the troglodytes are hiding in. Correct? Good. Yes, Jason, you're absolutely correct. Yeah. So, hey, Dr. Faust, how are you doing? I sent you an email from the email you gave me about next Sunday night. So let me know to do our crafting stream next Sunday, which would be awesome. And it's great to see you tonight. So that's what I did there. Is anyone else out there ever replicated prints like that? Or done that as an idea. I mean, it's also easy to take those, dry erase markers for inns. That's with the floor plans. Yeah. They tend to be very, very. Oh, thank you. I was in a rush, man. So thank you so very much. Just was curious. Go ahead, Anna.
Yeah, I was going to say that's one of the tricky bits is to make inns generic, but take a lot of inns and make them unique rather than the just boring generic. And that's something I try to always do to make the floor plan and make them in character unique. And the first thing I do is to look at the general, what climate are they sitting in and how secure is the area? Meaning, is this a little local thing in a big city where it's just a little hole in the wall and so they don't have to have any defenses? There's a city guard outside, there's civilization and all that. Or is it a secure shelter on a dangerous road between, like through a major forest or something, or next to wilderness? That will say a lot, so to speak. So some inns are just a cute little cottage house, and some of them, or like a city building. Some of them out in the wilderness somewhere are built like a fort. And they're like they remember on the Silk Road in the real world, you had these huge forts on the way. That is kind of an inn out in a wilderness somewhere where you really need to defend yourself against everything, so to speak. So it's a safe haven for travelers, and maybe not for all travelers, but at least for travelers that are loyal to whoever runs the inn. So I think the inn can span so many things, from that little hole in the wall in the city to something that is elaborate, big, and out in the frontier somewhere.
So you don't have to pull from an existing game and copy directly, because there's some cool publications out there too for getting into and one of my favorites, and this is going to be one of the giveaways tonight, and this is a reprint, is the Book of Taverns. This is the original third edition Necromancer Games one, but it is in reprint. Okay, and Chris Jones wrote all 3 of these. So there are actually 3 of these by Frog God now, who bought Necromancer Games rights, and there are a boatload. The Trireme, the Witch's Teat, the Quintain's Tower. I mean, the Horse Lord. This is just in the first book. Van Robert's Gibbet, the Lion Rampant, the Lion Rampant, Death and Taxes. Oh my gosh. Malachi's Public House, the Dagger and Rose, the Four Winds. I think that's it. Oh, that's all. That's just in the first book. Very well written out, and from that you don't have to do anything other than fit it into a campaign setting that it's already taken care of. What are your thoughts about either Anna or Jason? Either of you have looked at this? This is the first book, first of 3.
Oh yeah, Necromancer stuff's fantastic.
Yeah, it is.
It's been a while since I've gone through that one, but yeah. And there are several other things that are out there as well. Like I'm waiting on one called Remarkable Inns, but there are a number of inns and taverns publications, so they cover nothing but them.
Yeah, and I find that those resource books are you don't want to over rely on them, but for in a pinch or in a location, you're like, wow, this fits perfectly. Use it. You know, that's
Mhm.
what they're made for. You know, and I know there's city sites, castle sites, other books that were made by TSR back in the day too. So
And you can take parts of it, meaning you can take
absolutely.
part of the layout without buying the whole backstory. You can use the part of the backstory for another thing, and then change the layout to suit your adventure where you're at the moment, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. Now I like this one as well, the Shady Dragon Inn. Now
Oh yeah.
this is from '83, Carl Smith. What's really cool about this is it's a rogues gallery.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of NPCs in here. In fact, 118, including War Duke himself is in here,
Oh,
right? So
Now
108.
that is a great little supplement.
Yeah, and the tavern itself is in here as well, and you can utilize that however you want with the maps and some layouts, multiple floors layouts, and you can really go to town on this too. If you don't have the Rogues Gallery, this is basically more detailed than the Rogues Gallery. The Rogues Gallery is just stats, except for the NPC, the campaign NPCs, the Gary's campaign in the back. Look at this. I mean, these characters have all of the spells chosen, and so it's kind of a cool thing. So. Yep, it's awesome. I agree. So I remember the one a friend used. It was called the Boggs Respite. It was in Village. Yeah, and that's a neat one too. So go ahead, Anna, with a comment there. Anna?
okay. Sorry, I was looking up names here. So
Oh yeah, you're looking
I'm
up some of the
sorry.
names in there. Yes.
And no, names for stuff that I've done before.
Oh,
here.
okay.
So yep. Mm-hmm.
So as far as
Sorry.
I've never
there we go.
I've never used any of them because I like to make up my own. Now I've taken ideas from them. Absolutely, I've taken some of the drinks and the food and a character here and there, but I've never taken one and placed it in its whole because I kind of like making mine up from scratch. Jason, what's your thoughts on what do you prefer?
Oh well, I back in the day I used Shady Dragon Inn quite a bit.
Okay.
Especially one of the things that's very handy is to have these lists of names and characters, and each one in the Shady Dragon Inn, you have these little character synopsises and stuff, so that you can just pluck them out and use them wherever you need them. That concept is something I've used, but actually using that publication, Shady Dragon Inn is, I would say, if you're just starting out, and or even if you just don't have the time, again, this is a wonderful little one. It's mainly characters, though. It's a very very character driven supplement right there, and it is wonderful though.
Carry with the lotion. Yeah, and detail is good. These publications can have as little or as much detail. And, the Rogues Gallery was a listing of about, in by each class of a whole bunch of stats, and then some detailed afterwards. So it was a good mix. So let's kick it up a notch here. So I use my inns for the meeting point, and it's kind of like monotonous. I know I must do it almost every beginning of every adventure, because it's just classic old school, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And there may be some other places and all, but drinking establishments are easy. I got layouts of them. I got multiple settings for them. I got all the Pathfinder underlays. And by the way, Pathfinder Battles has some great underlays, which I'll show them shortly. It's a great thing to utilize, and then put little buildings up on top, and I'll show that. As you can see, here's another picture of the basement going down into the basement from an Orlane of the Golden Grain. So another way to do things. So if we skip out and we move over here to the wonderful Greyhawk City, right, and we go to this map and we go to this book here, you're talking about, I don't even know. I should have counted. What,
Oh yeah.
30 bars?
Oh, easily. Oh, more than
Not
that.
even
I mean,
counting.
there.
Yeah, not even counting the additions that Eric Mona and Malden did. There's got to be 30 in there.
Well, there's probably 30 in the story Twistbuck's Game, which is a short story by Gygax, where the game is they're walking down a street and they're looking at tavern signs, and they're adding up how many legs are shown in or these tavern that are there, and their little display sign that they have outside the tavern, and that is the game. So like Gord walks one down street, and it is like something about like the Ankegs in, and you count how many legs are on the picture, and you get that many points. And so the short story, they're going back and forth, and it is naming roads and taverns. So there are all these mentioned right there, let alone out of the City of Greyhawk box set and all the other things that are naming taverns. But if you're going to think of one for the City of Greyhawk, you go back to Robilar's Tavern, the Green Dragon Inn.
Absolutely.
The Green Dragon Inn is actually featured in the first coloring book that came out in the 70s. It's this big, oversized coloring book. And right there, it starts out at the Green Dragon. And if you get the last of the books, Expedition, there is a map of the Green Dragon Inn right in that.
Yes, there is. Absolutely. So the Green Dragon Inn is detailed also here. Okay. It is in the, it's in the River Quarter, correct? Or is it in the, my gosh, I forget.
I don't.
Is it River, Gary? Or is it foreign? I always forget if it's River or Foreign Quarter. I know it's detailed in here. I'm almost positive it's River Quarter. See, no one knows. Green Dragon.
Well,
where the hell is it? I thought it was River Quarter. Blue Dragon Inn is in Foreign Quarter. Yeah, I thought it was too, but I don't see it now.
Well, the Green Dragon Inn is in the Garden Quarter, right?
Is the Green Dragon in the Garden Quarter?
Yeah,
I feel like an idiot now.
I think it's in the Garden Quarter.
Gold Dragon Inn, Garden Quarter, Star Celine, Garden Quarter.
Yep, because that's where most fancy establishments are.
I thought it was in the River Quarter. 1, 2.
Okay.
There it is. R2. There it is. Fully trapped. Okay. Yeah. So okay.
River Quarter.
Thank you very much.
I
thought it was.
Green Dragon is more of a like a dive place where gritty adventurers can meet and everything. If you go up to the Garden Quarter and the High Quarter,
upscale,
you get into things like the Wheel of Gold and the Magician's Hat that are up there.
So the Green Dragon is really cool in Riker Damaris. If you never read Expeditions, Riker Damaris has the Grand March Sword of Equalizer. And he kind of loses it, and you find it, and he gets waylaid. But at the beginning, but Robilar's not around, and there's always people hanging out there, including Kellic, the Dragon Chess champion, who appears in the Age of Worms as well, and is up in Diamond Lake. So, but that's cool. But I have a couple other favorites, and a couple of my favorites are the following. I love the Star of Selene. It's such a pretentious elven snobbery place that I really love the Star of Selene, and that's up in the Garden Quarter. I will not hurt Gary and the rest of the crew by bringing on the other map that everyone so hates and showing you where it is. We won't do that. I'll save you guys from burning your eyes out. So note that. I also love the River Rat, which is where the Rennie hang out. Rennie, another really cool place. I also love the Fat of the Hog. That is in the Artisan Quarter. Yes. The Silver Garter in the River Quarter. You have the Silver Garter. Another great place where Rhina the Ogress is. Yes. So you can just imagine some of the places. So also one more in the Thieves Quarter, which are two of the characters in our campaign, Brolin and Trevin, which are in Narwhal now. Brolin's is priest of Morden, and Trevin's a human priest of Tritharion, and they always go down to the dwarven inn in the thieves, the old city. Oh my God, I don't think it's the Gold Digger. I want to say it's right on the main strip as you come in. Oh my gosh, maybe it is the Gold Digger. It is. Yeah, it is. It's the Gold Digger. The Gold Digger, and they go in. They always were telling stories because they always got limbs cut off and fingers removed, and and they always would tell their war stories in there. So some pretty neat places. But Melcott links help. Yeah, it is a great one there, Lex, as well. I have his maps. I have all his stuff, but they only ever detailed 2 quarters. In the Living Greyhawk Gazette journals, and I would have loved they would have done articles more about them. And this is a great map. I mean, this map is fantastic, and I'm incorporating it in. But I don't know anywhere. I mean, look at the size of the buildings compared to the other one. I just do not have. I don't have it all done yet, so I'm not going to start running around there and be even more lost than I am as it is. I have two written up in Greyhawk that we use a lot, and one of them came from believe it or not, was run by Iusians years ago before expeditions, and that was called the Noble Pawn. And I'm going to show you how old this is. This is a picture of. I've showed this before. This is River Street. Look, there's no underlay. This is River Street in Greyhawk, which would be the equivalent of this location here. As you can see, River Street. You can see the Noble Pawn. Galena's Bill's character. That's where we started on Thursday night. So this street here in the River Quarter, and this is the old map. This is not the mountain map. This is as you can see, the buildings are much further apart, and it really doesn't make sense. But when you come down to here, that is the street, and you look at the building on the right with the tree next to it. That is the Noble Pawn they took over, and it's got to be 15 years ago in our time that we started utilizing this place. It may be longer than that. I lose track of time. But the cool thing about it was it's a place run by a player character in our campaign. And so what my suggestion to the whole group, to everyone out there, is another way to breathe life into your campaign. Let your high-level characters, when they retire, get into establishments and get into businesses that will interact with your next group of characters. So that's kind of a cool thing to do, because then you have a little bit of overlap, and you can have some life lessons. You can have them taking them on missions, and that's kind of what has happened here in the Noble Pawn. And here's a pic. This is an old pic of the Noble Pawn, one of the first ones we ever did. Look, bad lighting and everything. And Galena, and there's Selenor the Bard singing, and this group is the Grey Company. This is the group of the thieves, mostly, and this adventuring party in the Noble Pawn. This is a pick from that pick. As you can see, it's much better resolution. That pick's from Thursday night of the Noble Pawn. So yeah. Much better paint jobs, much better resolution. But yeah, so yeah. Note some things here if you're doing this and you're playing for your taverns and your discussions. Thank you, Coma gave me the owlbear carpet.
I was going to say the owlbear rug is so the best. Cool. That's the best one ever. Yeah. It's so cool. The tables are all 3D prints. The fireplace, if I recall, is Miniature Building Authority, and Bill put as you can see, he put the actual logo of Greyhawk on it right up here. Mm-hmm. He did the logos on there. I forget where I got the dais from. All this back here is WizKids, except for the back. That's the back area. That's an old Miniature Building Authority. It's ceramic. This is all WizKids pieces. The bar area.
Yeah.
So you take it's not that hard to make this up, and take a flat mat like this and put your own. You don't even need to have this. You could do whatever. You can have a blank piece of paper, or you can have your graph paper and actually 3D it up. So where's the owlbear rug?
Oh yeah.
So Coma, if you're on, I thought I saw you on. Could you tell us where the owlbear 3D rug is? I know it's from Coma. It's from a place. I think Coma knows the person. So that would be awesome. It's really so cool. I think they have other little really neat things too, and that was a nice gift I received, and then Bill painted it up. So it's pretty cool. And just note that I like doing this because it once again it brings a little range and terrain and effect in, and that goes to section. By the way, if I'm overdoing too much time between the three of us, let me know. Okay.
No,
Okay.
please. This is awesome.
I'm on a roll,
Yeah.
right? All right. The second one.
Go with it.
The second one in Greyhawk is a recent make, and it's called Starshines. So this was taken from Malden's map. This is and I'm going to show you a picture. I did this like 4 or 5 weeks ago, and we had a momentous thing happen during this, which we won't get into. Griffin Company, thank you, Coma. So here's an area of the Petit Bazaar in Greyhawk. The main strip. This area in the far back here is the Petit Bazaar area I did up. It probably should be bigger than that, but my table's only so big, right? So we've made this up, and Starshines is back here. Okay, and I always use this lit up one. Sue me, okay? It's a fantastic one for a high-end inn, so I always use that one. Then you have the Petit Bazaar area, and then way in the back here you have Abel Carter Coaching Company's headquarters, and then this building here is Pete and John's Teamster Service, a storage facility there. Starshines is here. I did something I rarely do in an adventure. My brother's former thief from Blacksmith. I not say. Oh, cool, man. That's awesome. See, that's a good thing, man. All the crossover and all the memories and all the neat connections. All right, here we go. I did something I rarely do, and that is there was a big fight in the inn. I tend to not want to have fights in my inns. Kind of think it's just like it's a place where you don't want to see that. So here's Starshines. You notice that most of the layouts are the same because I'm not putting a super high one. The adventuring party. There's a group. Turns out some of these were. There's assassins all roaming around here. There's a lot of Iusians, and it turns out what happened. The Iusians were summoning necromantic sludge and other nasties out of the sewer grate here, to attack basically all of the characters in the inn. So I used this piece I had. It's in the wine cellar. And they had a nice fight, but the fight spilled out into the upper level, and that is where is the pick? I had these in alphabetical order. You would think I would. There it is, Starshines 4. There we go. As you can see, and there was when good old John from Pete and John's got assassinated. If you remember that on live stream, yes. So that's what happened in that fight there, and those steps go down into that basement, and it was really cool to do an actual fight in a bar once in a blue moon. So, okay. Thank you for the follow. Too bad we can't see who it is because it's not popping up. We can only hear it. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so very much. I'll have to go back into the log. I guess I can go into the index and see who it was recently. I'll do that. Okay, Anthony, I did get your email now finally. So, thank you, Boosted Streak and Jufro Samurai and Lehman the Blue just recently. Thank you for the follows. Really appreciate it. All right, so this was the one I created from scratch. It's run by a half elf, a retired adventurer, and it just fit in the game. I don't see when I tend to want to destroy things. I don't want to destroy published source things. Does that make any sense, Anna and Jason?
Yeah.
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 I don't mind breaking things myself. But...
No, but you want to keep some consistency, so to speak.
Yeah.
You don't want to screw things over too often. And meaning we all heard about Forgotten Realms spell disaster and the whole world kind of that goes to the local level too. So
yeah,
right. But occasionally there should be the kind of a disaster that strikes every now and then in the campaign to keep the players on their toes, so to speak. That's important.
It is, and this was basically the end tie-up finally of all and this goes back to your thing, Anna. How the hell did that army go all the way under the Near Deep, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, if you know in Expeditions, he did destroy Hamlet, Pat, but he didn't because it's in my campaign, and I'm not it was for creative ambiance, and in my campaign, Hamlet's still there, and the whole inn's there, so it's like a crossover kind of deal. Skagath, what's up, man? So if you know about in Expeditions, you collapse the main tower steps that go all the way up in the Tower of War. and the army's starting to come up it. And when you collapse it, it destroys a lot of the army. Well, it's not going to destroy the whole army. So my thought was, they're eventually going to find their way out because some of the leaders are in the back, not in the front. So I have, for the last 2-3 years, I've had little pockets of Hyusians popping up in this. Right, Jason? That makes sense, right? Because they're stuck there. They're not walking all the way back. They're going to seek revenge, or they're going to do whatever they can. So in this whole scenario here, this kind of was the last one, the last hurrah of this adventure. The Hyusians came and had taken over Abel Carter Coaching Company. That happens in expeditions, by the way, a bit. They start infiltrating it. And then what's the one thing chaotic evil can't do? Just lay low, right? Right, they can't help themselves. The thugs, they can't. They just can't sit around.
They want attention. They want action.
They're not Scarlet Brotherhood people who can lay low, right? They just can't. Yeah. So they start pushing people around. They start killing people's constables, doing dumb stuff, and then the whole fight ensues. And week 2 of this was reminisced or momentized by Bill storming out, being pissed off at me. Week 2 of this, everyone remembers that incident. So it's not all is rosy and paradise here. But yeah, so this was fun. But it all started at the inn, and it finished up at the inn too. At Starshines, and now Starshines is a regular place. It's noted where it is on the Malden map now, because I'm starting to use the Malden map, and I created it from scratch. And I talked to him. I said, "What do you think about this?" I kind of talked to Greyhawk Mike and Dennis, and I said, "What are you thinking about this idea here?" And Mike loved said that's a great name. That's cool. So, well, thank you. Thank you, Jufro Samurai. So, this is my table, 8 foot by 8 foot, and we attempt to be known as the best on Twitch and in the game, old school for scenery. And we're having so let me hit this button here. Now that Dr. Faust is on, it's official. Next Gabbin, I had it prepped. Next Sunday night, crafting and painting techniques. So we're gonna have Dr. Faust on, Art of Mike Disney, Builder Master Crafter, and myself for next Sunday's Gabbin. So that'll be cool. We'll talk about all this stuff. Crafting really cool things, painting really cool things, and using 3D printers and using Reaper miniatures. We'll have fun. We'll have a fun stream. So I love Greyhawk. I love adventuring in cities, and I love detailing the cities on the table. And you don't have to go this crazy, right? You don't need to do this. But I think when you create a tavern and you want to tell stories from it, have a hook. Right, like Jason, Anna, give us an idea of something that could be like a drink, or what would be a cool note of an inn, or a hook for an inn.
Yeah, I had in my Reldevin campaign, I had one of the stables that they went back to in Reldevin over and over again was the Daggers and Tunes. And that was an establishment that was it was a whole house. So it was one of the biggest inns in Reldevin, so to speak. So and they had themed nights. So various days of the week and of the year and during the festivals and stuff, they had lots of themed things. So they had story nights when the bards came and told stories about things, and you could tell stories, and the audience were clapping enough, and they had like a bell you could ring and stuff like that to promote the stuff. And then you had to kind of go up and tell your own story, and people could bet and stuff like that. So they could win things if they rolled high enough, and if they have like knowledge and stuff like that, they get booed out, and people can throw. They had buckets of stuff that you can throw at people and stuff. It was kind of gone. So the story night was one of them. They had, of course, in the summer in the backyard, they had drinking contests on free day. The night before free day, they had drinking contests to see who could drink the most without puking too much and stuff like that. So, but they had them only in the summer in the outside in the backyard, and there were bouncers around, so they characters get hired to drag people out when they get too difficult and stuff. So that was one thing. And they had illusion nights where wizards, and if you could cast illusions, you can come, and if you can fool people into doing things, so most weird kind of cool scary things. So they had like an illusion of a dragon attack and people get scared and all sorts of stuff. So that was one and they had monthly or bake-offs and cook-offs where you can actually come and make your best cookie or best whatever it was on the theme at the moment, so to speak. They had gambling nights, of course, and they also had demi-human festivals. So they had like Elven Week and Dwarven whatever and stuff like that. So I tried to make the inn a little bit different almost every time they went there. So for every session I had to come up with kind of cool things. So I look in the calendar and try to come up with all sorts of kind of interesting things. So that was that. We had a lot of fun with these kind of things. It was kind of a vacation and it was kind of interesting. And there was some low life coming, some high life, but it was something that the city officials and Prince Carven, he loved the place. So he had a lot of secret protection from the principal, from the prince, and so on. So it was a well protected establishment that way. But we had a lot of fun there. So that was
Awesome.
one of the things. So try to make the inn. Some inns should be the same all the time, meaning they don't change anything. The menu is the same year in, year out, just for consistent. But some inns should change, and just like you have some restaurants and others in the real world that have theme things and stuff. So this was an establishment that were really trying to get business. They could have 500 people there in an evening, so to speak. It was a big place, especially in the summer when they had the big backyard and they had the front yard out to the grand square where they could actually spread out. So they had all sorts of things going on, and I forgot now who owned it. I had the whole list of stuff made up. It's sitting somewhere, so I should have.
That's why you have notebooks and
yeah,
resources
exactly.
and
I had the
stuff.
digital
my
notes.
gosh.
It's in my Realmworks stored away somewhere. But it's so I think that some inns should be a spectacle in themselves, so to speak. And so they had jousting at times in the grand square.
Medieval
they invited things. Yeah, exactly. So exactly, it was like medieval times. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep. So they had
That's cool.
Various things, so to speak, that happen, so to speak. So you can kind of make things out of it. And some of they invited the best bards to come and perform. That was the staple thing. So yeah.
So a couple of the things Dr. Fell said, he had someone try to franchise, get this, the Crimson Roof in.
Oh,
nice one.
Yeah,
yes, and
that's
then
awesome.
Yeah,
Yep.
and then Stefan said, and this is another thing that we do with mercenary guild halls as well, but inns are perfect for this too. Hiring boards, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hiring
Yep.
board is a great idea for an inn. You know, both those ideas are fantastic.
Yeah, and you can often have inns run by someone for a purpose rather than the inn itself. Meaning they could be run by some low life organized. The Thieves Guild might run it just to have a nice social place to hang out, to launder money, or an enemy faction might run it in an inn as a way of keeping their representatives there, like a secret embassy or something like that. Or you can all sorts of things. Meaning it's a place where a lot of strangers will be accepted, and that is something that a lot of organizations or political people that have nefarious dubious purposes and stuff like that can use an inn as a front for things, either to fence things, sell things, get information, and to drug and kill people or whatever it is. Meaning you can have all sorts of stuff. One of the most extreme examples of this was the Fang that was run by Ishma. She was a hag, and that was also in my Real Devon campaign near Black Splinter. She was actually her business deal was to sell various spell components. So if you needed some really nasty spell component for your necromantic spells or whatever it was, Ishma, she had it. So she had a shop where she sold stuff like that out in the splinter marches, and they had it in. So it was a cabal of hags that ran it, and there was an Addis that was a bouncer, and if you came with money and you bought something. Or even better, if you came with like a dead body or some interesting thing, then you could stay a night. But if they deem like, you would not be recurring business, they will put you in the pot and make something out of it, so to speak. So
that's such a classical story.
Yeah.
If you've ever heard the term hag ridden, It comes from these stories about these wayside inns that were run by hags, and at night, when you went to sleep, they would come in and in your sleep they would ride the people on their backs till they night after night till they were worn out and killed. And it goes on to this idea that some inns were run by people who were there to rob the people coming into the inn or the tavern. And so that's something I've used. There's a Paul Newman movie called Judge Roy Bean, and in it he's a cowboy, and he comes up to a very broken down saloon, and it's just like really like a little box house that's a saloon, and they rob him, and they leave him for dead, and then he comes back and he kills everybody in the tavern and takes it over. And then later on, it makes it a saloon, and then there's a town around him. But anyway, that is something that you can have as part of your adventure, is that you're going up somewhere. And I actually have a place like that. Gygax talked about it in, I'm trying to think which book. It's probably Artifact of Evil. He's going up by the Vesvi, and there is an evil town up there where Obmi stops at. And there is an inn there where Obmi is meeting these people. So it's an evil tavern I've used in an evil little town, but they pretend that they're not. So when you get in there, not only are the saloon people out to get you, but it ends up that the entire town is formed of evil characters. And so you end up having to like fight the town or fight your way out of the town. And they're there. If you go to sleep, they've got like secret entrances and like to slip into your room at night, and they're there to rob and kill you. So there are all different kinds of places and taverns and inns that you can do.
And one of the on the way to the Fang from Ongi, that was the closest town, so to speak. So halfway there, or like a couple hours before the Fang, there was they called the Halfway Inn, and there was a couple of enterprising goblins who realized that there's a lot of travelers who wish they had, so they can inform that they should have like interesting things, like at least like a gallon of pig's blood or something useful to come with to Ishma. So they are selling the ingredients that Ishma might need. So they are selling all sorts of stuff. So they have a stand along the road sometimes, and they have a sign saying that you can toot a horn, and then they will come and see who you are, and then they can sell, and you can buy stuff like dead body parts or whatever needed, so in order to bribe Ishma, so you not become and warn about her, so to speak. So it was kind of one of these little. So when they came, it was like a little sign saying the Halfway Inn, and then there was a little cow horn that you could blow in, so to speak. And they wondered should we blow or not, but of course they had to blow because it was kind of the most fun. And then they come in and have a little watchtower up in the trees where they can come in and negotiate a deal, and then they can hand over some half-rotten body parts or whatever it is that Ishma might need, so to speak. So it's one thing lead to the other. So you can start like a little local economy for good or bad, so to speak. And I think that's one of the other key pieces, is that inns tend to be where there is an economy to support them. They need to have business. Exactly. They need to have enough business to support them, so to speak. So a huge inn with hundreds of patrons coming every night and stuff, that can only be like in a big city, or otherwise they have to be of outer-worldly renown, so to speak, or something to come. So awesome. So Ishma's the Fang was like big enough for 10 people to squeeze in if need be. It was a hut. That was it.
So lots of great things that people have done in chat are going through, and that's really cool. Yeah. And I appreciate the participation and the ideas. Jim Segura just gave me one that I never thought about that is awesome, and I'm stealing it. And I only think Tim's on. I don't think any other guy on. But a lighthouse. It doesn't have to be in a lighthouse that is made so that ships crash near it, because it's like,
Oh yeah,
There
yeah.
you go. Mm-hmm.
That's a great idea. I don't know why I ever came up.
There's a movie based kind of like that called the Jamaica Inn.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay, the Jamaica Inn. Cool.
Where it's I think a Charles Lawton movie, and
I love that idea.
Where they are wreckers, and they do things like they make sure that ships get the wrong light from, like a lighthouse, and crash on the rocks, and then they come and pick up all the salvage, and so yeah, that is but that's classical. It's, in fact, in England, that was very common in the coast of Cornwall, were the wreckers, and they would wreck shipping on their rocks.
Why do I always go back to that terrible movie Hostel? That when you guys are talking about these bad movies, it's like it's pretty funny, but some cool things. So let me go on here to this. So there are places noted in published source that have really cool things to them. One of them in particular is on the plain of Greyhawk, on the way to Hardby, on the way to the gnarly forest, called Peculiar Manor.
Yeah.
Peculiar Manor is an inn, and it's run by old Sanjare. His ale, Old Peculiar, is brewed in his cellars to a recipe he says was given to him by an ancient Clatspur dwarf clan chieftain in return for some astounding service. Old Peculiar is jet black, well, it sounds like Guinness, and so heavy that some say it is best not drunk but eaten with a fork. It tastes like liquid peat and served in half pints, 2 gold each. No one has ever claimed to down more than 2. Usually dwarves claim that. It's page 16 in your From the Ashes, and that's Peculiar Manor. So here's a notation of a really cool, crazy drink that is right in published source, which I thought is really cool. And it's an estate, and it says there's 40 tenant farmers and workers. This is perfect because it's in a crossroads, and look at all the open land around here. Mm-hmm. You can always do something. It's really technically in Harby's lands, technically, but it's south of Twofold, and it's on the way to your areas in Five Oaks, and all in the gnarly. So it's perfect. Really cool. All right. One of my favorite places of all time and I do some sort of destruction here, is Hardby. There's always fighting going on in Hardby. There's always some kind of confrontation going on, and there's always something on fire in Hardby in my games. Right, so it's like this ship named the Steadfast, which is fixed now, which they were able, it was not get scuttled, and it was not a player character ship at the time, but they have an agreement with the crew of the Steadfast. Now a lot of this is Miniature Building Authority pieces on here from their Harbor Town set, which I love. It's not cheap, but it's really good stuff. And so this one says Lucky Kraken, but this is the Southern Point. The Southern Point is actually detailed in Earth Journal, and I hybridized the Living Greyhawk Hardby and the Earth Journal Hardby together to get one Hardby out of it. And I love the Southern Point's description. And here's another area of fighting that was going on during that scene. And I show this just because I know if Tim's on here, this scene is when Tim brought his band onto the beach for the fight, his one character, and the band got hit by a fireball and they all got killed. His musical group. I found that highly amusing that he did that in the first place, and that I got to kill them all. So, just wanted to share that. They all had red shirts on that day. So the Southern Point is, as you can see, it looks like it's got docks, and it's a different look.
Oh yeah,
it's a much different look of an inn, this is another momentous scene in my campaign, is because right here is the legendary, and I am showing. So I almost gave him the finger. Screw you, Hero Forge. That is the Michael Baton figure from Hero Forge that Mark had made up, and this is, unfortunately, I don't have a pic of it happening, but this is right before Michael Baton was assassinated in this right after this scene. I don't have stills of it though, where he got decapitated right in the southern point, and they took his head and they took off, and now his head is supposedly on a pike in the Assassin's Guild in Divers. So there you go. So a little more of story arc there. So the southern point is where a lot of my adventuring goes on, groups, and it's like I said, it's not detailed in the original Living Greyhawk, but it's detailed in the Earth Journal discussion. A band of a band, exactly. Another one I don't show in Hardby, and I should have brought pictures of. I don't know why. So there are facilities that are just like in Orlane, right? The Foaming Mug, right, which is closed. There's a facility in the Bonded Barrel Ghetto area of Hardby called the Stargazers Retreat. Well, some sages thought it would be good to make a bar/observatory. All right, why, I don't know. But I kind of came up with that idea. Well, the one adventuring group, Reckless Indifference, bought it, and that's their home base headquarters now. So the bar is no longer a bar, but it's a adventuring group headquarters, and they can go drink and they can go look and peer up at the stars from the telescope, which is still there. So why? Hey, who knows? But it's kind of a cool idea. Abandoned inns are a great place to convert into a place for an adventuring group all the time. So like to do that.
Oh, Hardby's a great place too.
It's fun. Mm-hmm. Hardby's fun. Yeah. Hardby's more fun than Greyhawk. Because it is, because the laws are kind of silly, it depends on who you have controlling it. I still like having the Gynarchy. I don't like this merchant consortium from Greyhawk. I think that's stupid.
Oh yeah.
I like the Gynarchs running it, and they're fighting there. I love and the
Despotrics, yeah.
Exactly, the Despotrics, and Judge Alita is very evil and in leg with the slave lords. It's great, so you can have a lot of fun in your Hardby adventuring. So there's just a couple, but if you combine both books from Hardby, you're going to get another 30 inns throughout that entire print. I forget what Earth Journal is. It may be 10 or 11. That's in. It's an early Earth Journal that Hardby's detailed in. And there's some changes you have to do some cross referencing, but it's nice. See, there you go. You spelled Alita wrong, Bill, so it doesn't count. All right, it's Aleeta. There you go.
Now I have one of the things I really like about Hardby is they're known for their half-orc mercenaries and the Hardby Marines.
Yes.
Okay.
And so there is this tavern where that is popular with both. And it's one that I created for my campaign called Charmed Ogre. And it's based kind of on the Wormy cartoon Inn, where you have this giant blue ogre who is the bartender. So in this, there is this ogre bartender who has, what has happened is he swallowed a hand that had a ring of charming to charm ogres on it. And he has become like permanently charmed by that, as long as it's stuck in his digestive tract there. And so the adventurers brought him back, and they ended up starting this inn. So he is the bartender and the bouncer, and the Hardby Marines and the half-orc mercenaries love this place, and they call him Rufus. And there is the nightly, anybody wants to can try to wrestle Rufus, and that is where they've got to wrestle this big ogre. And so that is they've got an area by the back of the bar that is like a big big cleared area with like a sand pit, and that's where they would go, and you would test your strength against this ogre. This,
nice.
Rufus the ogre.
See, that is cool, Jason. That you did some Hardby adventuring too. I don't know.
The whole Wild Coast area, Hardby, and then on the other side with the Wild Coast, and it being so close to Greyhawk, that it just naturally lends itself. That whole area is just rife with adventure.
It is.
You know,
look at all the areas around here. Now, some of these are mined: Miraculous Isle, Sandy Shores, Thunderstrike Villa, but a lot of this is right in published source. There's a lot of really cool things that you can do in this area. And the Slavers set, the Slavers referenced by Sean Reynolds and Chris Pramus is the go-to for this one. That's the absolute go-to. You get Summoned from the Ashes, but the absolute go-to is Slavers. So really a great place. So wanted to share those. And then let's just do this. We got to talk about one of the most of renown of all time here as we go to.
Okay.
As we go to Iron Gate, right? So I do not know a lot because I've never ventured in Iron Gate. And here we go, Gary. Here's your shout out, Gary and Malden, Gary Holy and Dennis Tetro. I think it's Dragon 351 or 357. Gary, if you want to tell me which one it is, it's up there. Iron Gate, City of Stairs, great one. We had an Iron Gate discussion on Legends and Lore way back, and the article as well in that. Oh, thanks, Galger. Thank you so very much. Very kind of you. Was this place, right?
Oh, this
by Eric. This is Eric Boyd. So. Yeah, it does. Pat, Iron Gate is the most well-defended city in all of Greyhawk. Do you agree? The whole setting there, Jason, because where it is.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and there's been a lot of work done on detailing it out. So one of the things about Iron Gate in that respect is that they think three-dimensionally. So Iron Gate is also protected from below. You know, they're thinking there's the walls, there's everything there, but they also underneath they have protected themselves from assault that would come up from below, which a lot of the cities never think of. And if you look at that business with Expedition, where the thought was that the ASEAN troops would come up from below.
So Yeah, 100%. They didn't come up from below in the city, but they did from the castle, from the ruins of Castle Greyhawk. Yeah, and that's close enough for an entire army. No, you're correct. You're correct. They thought,
and that's how Stein Castle was destroyed by coming up inside the fortress itself from below.
So that's funny there on Chew. But do taverns have great finger foods, or are they only nuts and breadsticks? Well, see, this is the cool thing is that here this is there's planar gates here in the World Serpent Inn. In fact, the World Serpent Inn is almost in every setting, if I recall. Is that correct?
I think so. I think that was something they flogged at the time at Wizard Coast. Was that this was an inn that traveled the realms.
Yes, so and it's an Iron Gate in Greyhawk, right?
Yeah, and it was in other locations, in Forgotten Realms, etc. So I think it was part of that, if I remember. This is like 25 years ago, but it was part of. I think that was part of the thing with it, and that existed in many different places at once.
Right,
which is cool. That's a really cool.
Yeah, cool and here's the map that's in that article of the World Serpent Inn. It's not very large, but you can see.
I was surprised.
These are all planar gates, small. I believe. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So. It reminds me of like almost like a way station in some of those movies, Between Heaven and Hell, like in the Heavenly Kid, where they're sitting at the bar and they're just hanging out and like, oh yeah, we're hanging. It's kind of what it reminds me of. So, it does there, Pat, where it's raised up on the plain, where the Kyber crystals are. I agree. Iron Gate has a connection to it. Okay, so it's actually this bar itself is on the plains, but so if you want extra planar bar for Greyhawk, this is yours. This is it, because it is connected through Iron Gate, and it's cool. And we can always. So I talked to Eric Boyd today, as a matter of fact. The final yes for the Saturday night special on November 6th. So he's playing Telegor Stunknord, his half ogre again, and he's going to be joining the Greenwood group again. But we can always ask him questions about this. We can have him back anytime. He'll come on. He loves the show. So he actually was asking me for the Ed Greenwood attachments from the last 2 shows he was on today. It's like, no problem, Eric. So
awesome.
It's pretty cool when a legend like Eric Boyd's asking you for something. So I don't know too much about. As I said, I've never used it, but if you're a Planescape person or Spelljammer person, or you just want to have a way to get from Forgotten Realms to Greyhawk or to Dragonlance or to Dark Sun, this is how you do it with World Serpent.
Well, the only thing is there is actually a place and an inn in the city of Greyhawk where you can reach the interplanar gate.
What is that?
That is in the story the weird occurrence on Odd Alley.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Odd Alley is over in Old City of Greyhawk.
Yep.
And it is Gygax's version pre-Planescape of how to reach the multiverse.
Where's that out of, Jason?
That is out of the book Knight Errant. It's
there we go. I was waiting for a reference from a Gord book.
Yep.
And here it is. It's called the Sunken Grotto Tavern. And when you go there, you find in Odd Alley, there's this iron gate, and you cannot get through it. So Gord and Chur are looking all around to try to find a way in. There's all these businesses and such that overlook it, but there's no way to get in. There's no windows to crawl through. There's no doorways. There's no way seemingly until they go to the Sunken Grotto Tavern. And there is a narrow alley out back, and then you get to the other side and you're in Odd Alley. And what happens is you go up and it just seems like a normal alley, and at the end is the other end of that iron gate. But there is a place where you can put a coin, and this coin turns the gate phosphorescent, and you travel to the multiverse from there.
That's awesome.
And every coin that you get is unique, and you have to have this coin to be able to travel into it. But once you're there, you're into basically what they ended up doing with that sigil in Planescape. There's this like a city that is the interconnection of all these different planes.
So I'm glad to hear we finally got some connections, and I have not read Knight Errant yet. I haven't gotten that far.
All right.
But that's exciting.
A lot of short stories.
I didn't know that.
There's some short stories that it's awesome. Yeah. So
it's really cool.
It's one of these cool Greyhawk locations that unfortunately didn't make it into TSR because he made it.
But that makes it even cooler.
Yeah. So it's one of these. Yeah.
Yeah. That's great because
cool.
we're finding more and more of these as we dig in. We're finding a lot of, and I know. This discussion is going to come up more and more as these, and I don't want to go to right here now and maybe one day, but we have our clown, a gatekeeper clown, we have the director of D&D saying some stuff out there and all, but just note that I have reached out and made a connection with that person, and that person is going to be promised to talk to me soon. So I don't know whether it's going to be on a talk show or it's going to be just one-on-one, but we're going to have a little discussion, just talking about Greyhawk's future as far as WotC goes. So note that. All right, well, cool, Jason. That's great. So give me another book instance for
Taverns. All right, well, in Stoink, which is one of the Bandit Kingdoms. Stoink was one of the furthest expansions of the Great Kingdom. So it started as a fortress, and after hundreds of years, it's become one of the Bandit Kingdoms. Now, there are 2 towns outside of Stoink. One is the Docks, and it's like a town in itself, and the other is where mercenaries come. It's a town where they come, they gather, and so they have, surprisingly, a very high-class tavern there. And in this tavern, Gygax describes the most interesting meal. And he's talking about all the various things, because in Stoink, the tavern is able to access stuff from all over the Flyness. And he names, just in that one story, like 3 or 4 distinct kinds of cheese, and a bunch of different, like Ferundian green apple wine. There's a Frusian hairy goat cheese or something. There's a Backlunish cheese. And for about a page and a half, Gygax describes nothing but what's on the menu there. And it's enough to make you hungry. It's a wonderful description. And this is not your commonplace tavern. So this is where the mercenary leaders meet. This is where, like the high level business dealings are done. And so this is a fancy tavern that is up there in Stoink. And it's wonderfully the atmosphere is described, and the wonderful foods they're eating are described. This is not like the kind of place you're going to get into a bar brawl, but it is a place where your characters are going to go, and if they need to hire mercenary army, if they need to, it's just plan some kind of far-reaching thing. It's a wonderful high-level description of a high-class, fancy kind of tavern restaurant that is up there in Stoink.
Awesome. Cathay's relaying some information in here from it sounds like that's just the discussion of the cheese, which is really cool. So he really picks out some great details there, which is a big plus.
Frosty Wickler. That's awesome. Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh yeah. And Cathay's my co-host on the reading, so he is always picking out all the information and posting pictures and various things when we're doing the recording. So
awesome.
Yep.
Coolness there. I'm going to keep our movement going here. Back into this area here. Narwhal. So we continue our trek along. Of course, I'm saving for two of the best for last here. So Narwhal's our most recent campaign area, and I don't have a Narwhal map, but I have Narwhal. Oh, I do. Narwhal. This is a small part of Narwhal, the Headhunters headquarters. Also, a secret warehouse, and we have what's the Sundered Spear. Now, if you are a living Greyhawk person, the Sundered Spear is in published source. It's run by a lady named Falara. She's a multi-class character of. Thank you for that follow, Typhonius. They're not showing for some reason tonight. Don't know. You can hear him, but you can't see him. She is I think she's either a priest fighter or priest ranger. She's one of those multi-classers of Tritharian, because they can multi-class specialty priests, and her whole entire adventuring party was destroyed, and it fit right into our campaign. So I took this from published source in the Narwhal adventure, in our Narwhal group, and because a lot of them are Tritharian worshippers, and they get free room and board here. And this character in the back in the red, Enoch Pratt will remember. That's Lindara, who he played a couple years. The previous Virtual Con, she's kind of a spy for the Tritharianites with what's going on. She's not joining the Headhunters, even though she should. And it's kind of a cool. Got some cool things going on in the in Narwhal. But once again, I may have to make this one up. It was already there in published sources. Now, I made one up called the Quill and Inkwell Inn, a second inn, which is a little more laid back. It's more for sages and travelers of spellcasters and stuff in Narwhal. But that's, if something's there that fits, and you can see it's back here in this, of course, our nice building that we always use now. If it fits and it's nice, utilize it, and then make some changes as you need fit. And that's, hey, Chav, what's up? Good to see you. I always wanted to have a campaign in Narwhal, and we've got high-level characters, low-level characters interacting there, and it's just, I love the frontier town mentality and idea. And whether it's, I know Ashur's got his Highlanders up in the northern part of the North Province, right? He has that up there, and Anna's got her Shieldlands campaign. That's very frontier-like, now on the edge. Mm-hmm. There's always been an allure to the frontier adventuring.
Well, that's where a lot of bad stuff happens, and that adventures are needed, so to speak. You don't go to the Shire to seek adventures in Middle Earth. You go to Mordor, or at least to Gondor in trouble. You go to where the Borderlands, or where they're closer to the bad guys, or where the monsters are and stuff. So that's, I think that's comes with the territory. So to speak.
Yeah, and so the Frontier Bar, and that, what does anyone know? Is there named Keep on the Borderlands Bar? Is that named?
There's two.
Okay.
What are
there's two. There's the One-Eyed Cat, and there's the Green Man.
Ah. Okay.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
One-Eyed Cat.
I did not know about the Green Man. I remembered the One-Eyed Cat. Cool. Once again, another frontier town wherever you place it. I mean, it's been placed in Yeomanry by some people, placed in Rotic, or there's multiple places you can place Keep on the Borderlands as well. All right, so that's Norwell. Another Red Falls, a mustering field for the Air, the Imperial Highlanders, an elite unit detailed in Nvidia and Dyne. Yeah, but see, Dale, you expanded on it and made it your own, though. That's what's cool, and that's what. So I'm trying to relay that. I have published source stuff in Norwell. I don't like them raising Norwell to the ground. Living Greyhawk destroyed. Living Greyhawk destroys everything. Everything gets destroyed in Living Greyhawk.
Well, they kind of, that was part of their spiel, was to
destroy everything. Yeah. I mean, oh my gosh.
Yep.
And lots of taverns too, Dale. That's cool. I think that Dale, we should do a follow up on Gabbin or Legends and Lore, and have a discussion on that and get more into detail on that specifics. It's always good to see published sources be developed into something cool, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what we're trying to relay to the community, is trying to relay to the powers that be above us, just to even open up frickin' DM's Guild, and just imagine all the great content that you could see, right?
Yeah.
From everyone, source books. Mm-hmm. So.
Yep. Yeah, I have a naming need for a tavern name. In Bugford, there is a tavern, and I haven't named it yet. So I realize I need to name it for the next session. So,
I have an idea.
Okay. Yeah.
When's your next session?
Next session is next Sunday. Yep. So in a week.
Why don't you, within reason, raffle that off on Legends and Lore Wednesday night?
Perfect. Yep.
You everyone like that idea? And Anna can say no. So if you say, yes, sweaty balls or anything like that, she can say no. Okay,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, we can have the old name and the new name. So
yes,
we can have the name from when it was the Shielanders who ran it, so to speak. But now it's the Iusians. So it's right now it's the horde of the Gensel hordes of hobgoblins that runs it. So then you can kind of run wild with it, what they call it. So
awesome. So yeah. On Legends Lore Wednesday night, which, oh, by the way, it is going to be Humanoid Deities Wednesday night. Myself, yep. And Mike and Anna. So that'll be good. We'll do that in addition to whatever other giveaway we do, which will probably be
perfect.
Yeah, there. So that'll be a little fun for you, is to name that that bar for Anna for her campaign. Awesome. So I lost my train of thought. Use published sources or not, but when you use them to your advantage and make them cooler, right?
Yep.
That's the thing. Just take them. Falara is a great character in my campaign now, and it wasn't original from me, and that's perfectly fine. But everything else in this area, with the exception of Carador's Trading Post and a couple other places, are all from my campaign. So that's the way to work it. Let me shout out your. And if you haven't followed Anna's Patreon, please do. It's the best $5 you'll ever spend a month. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. This location's so old for me in my campaign that I don't have any pictures of it. I have no streams of it. I have no maps of it and venturing inside.
Tringley.
And guess what? We're all here right now. Lord Peak's Haven is the bar in Tring Lee from the 10-year anniversary of the Order of York celebrations and a festival for the elves that we had way back in like 93. Lord Peak's Haven, and Lord Peak's Haven is known for its troll's piss, and if you know, that's the drink. Yeah. And in order to get, if you've seen the pictures of the dogs playing pool, right? Everyone see the fuzzy dogs playing pool and ripping the felt, right? Big Al, thanks. He said it's not showing up in chat because of technicals, so thank you very much for the sub. You must, a single player character has successfully done this. You need to, first drink, you need to roll half against your constitution round up. So if you have 18 con, you need to roll 9 or higher. Second, 1/3 your con. And the third drink is 1/4 your con, but the second and third ones are round down. No one's been successful yet, and if you fail, you pass out. So all this time, we've not had a single character successfully drink 3 trolls pisses without passing out. So there you go. So that's what we're known for here. So when I started making Gabbin 3.5 years ago, I'm like, where can I make this? Oh, Lord Peak's Haven. So there you go. That's the bar here. One of the best. Yep. Yes. Bill, you missed that. We talked about Mother Grubs, and Mother Grubs in Greyhawk City is really cool because there's vampires running through there. Well, there was in our game. And if you read From the Ashes, it gets burned to the ground because a paladin's friend got killed in there and they went and raised it. In our game, it got raised to the ground during the Sale and Made Me Do It series of events, which went over 20 years. Well, guess what? That's part of that kind of thing is tied into what I'm doing on Thursday nights now with Greenwood's lore, Salacra, and a Doom Grinder. And Salem, so we have some fun coming. Yep. So there you go. That's all I have on Tring Lee. Is we're here, Lord P, every Sunday night in the bar, hanging out and drinking in the bar there. So before I go and finish up here from Anna and Jason, give us some other fun tidbits or ideas or some maybe stuff from the Gourd books or others that you have. Yeah.
I was thinking one aspect that we haven't mentioned really that is rarely put into it is that a lot of inns, we have taverns that are basically just drinking places, and then you have the inns that have accommodation and stuff. But a lot of it seems to be catering to middle class or up, so to speak, when it comes to the inns. But I try to put in inns for poor travelers and poor people, meaning they don't have any rooms for proper beds or anything like that. So they have like the regular place where you can sit and eat and drink and stuff like that. And then they have like one other room next to the stables, or maybe even the poorest ones together with the stables, where there's basically a roof and a little bit of heating if it's in the cold place. And that's where you can basically lay up your blanket and go to sleep. There's some hay maybe or something like that, and some rags that you can put on. So travel cheap and kind of low status travel accommodations for poor people. And I think that's in a lot of areas where most people will probably not be that wealthy. Then you should have taverns that start catering for the low trodden in the world too. And that's part of when it comes to designing your inns and stuff. You should have inns for everybody in the population, so to speak. That could be considered a group of customers to cater for in traveling, so to speak. Especially if you have on the way to places where you can say there is a lot of pilgrims and other poor people that want and feel the need to go there. There should be a lot of accommodation for really poor people too, that just needs the basic safety and eating and stuff.
And a lot of these basic inns, even the smallest village, rather than something formalized as an inn or tavern, it will start out as a big kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. And, someone just opens up, put a sign and say, come to us and eat and sleep a little bit, and you can kind of sleep in the barn and something like that.
Exactly. Yeah. So like even your smallest village, they will almost always have a gathering place, a social place for the poorest people. Yeah. And that starts out as like, say, here's this farm, and they have a big kitchen, and maybe they no longer have the same number of family, and they have plenty of room in there, and you come in, and it's just a room with a big fireplace and a stone floor, and they bring out the drink, they bring out food from, they're cooking the food right there while you're in this big room. There is a book by Arthur Conan Doyle called The White Company, and it describes one of these early basically box building where it is obviously had been like somebody's house or barn, and it is now an inn, but it's really just like kind of like a barn-like thing. And when you need to go to sleep, you climb up, and you're in this loft, and below you is like there's kind of like a big area that surrounds the open area below, but it's just to the sides. When you want to go to sleep, you climb up there.
You sleep in the hayloft, basically.
It's a hayloft, basically. And it's a wonderful description. It's got a big fireplace. People are in there, and the travelers are coming up and down this road, but it's partway between the very simple somebody's kitchen and an actual inn or tavern that has people, the very poorest people sleeping there. And it is poor travelers, and it's something that beginning adventurers would probably run into.
And that might also be a way to, if you want to stay away from the attention of authorities and stuff, then to hang out with the really poorest might be the way to go, so to speak, because that's kind of catches less attention. And one other aspect, I think, is also start thinking about when you design your own inns, what is the local architecture looks like. We are used to these kind of normal buildings, so to speak, the square building and a door and windows. But in some areas, especially up in the cold climate, if you go to Blackmore and the Dentredun and have your inn, that might be more like a Viking longhouse or something that has a stone, because you don't want big windows, you don't want a lot of walls. It's something that is basically you take an area that is slightly raised up so you don't get flooded, and then you dig a pit that is like 5 feet or between 5-7 feet deep, so half a floor down, and then you put some stones around it, then you build a roof over it, and then you have a big open fire pit in the middle, and then you have the animals on the side of one end or the sides of the ends of the building, and then you live in the middle. That will be the inn of a place like that. So basically half the village might live there, and you can simply come in and live with the locals, and if you pay a little bit or you bring stories or whatever, they will be happy to have someone joining them, so to speak. So it doesn't need to be that formal, and it should definitely be local and different flavor of the building. And then in the tropics, you might have round little huts somewhere and stuff. So climate and building style should kind of tell you what the inn should look like, so to speak. And I think that's really important. And I'm going definitely love to start figuring out what an elven tree house inn would be. A huge oak or something like that. How cool would that be? Or a gnomish inn under an oak or something like that. Or what about a hobbit hole inn or something like that? You can
and if you want to talk like a fantasy gnome idea, you can look at Washington Irving's Rip Van Winkle, where the dwarf gnomish fairy people, they welcome into this place inside of a tree that is a big merry hall with all these things going, but ends up making them stay 100 years. But you can just remove that part and use that as a description of say a gnomish inn or a fairy inn.
But in the beginning, Jay, you had in the videos here, you had like a little hut that was on top of a mushroom. That could be an inn for sprites or pixies or something like that. That will be, they have an inn in like a large, on top of a large mushroom or something.
Has anyone out in the audience been to Breckenridge, Colorado? in Breckenridge, they have this bar run by, it's a top and bottom bar run by some people, transplants from Philly. It's called Upstairs at Something, Downstairs at. So my original players, got together, and the Halfling Sam and the Gnome Boyd, which is Alan and Walt. We have Upstairs at Sam's, Downstairs at Boyd's. So there you go. And that one's a halfling and one's a gnome. So, it's just like we took it right from real life stuff. Yes.
Cool.
So, yep. And that's in Altamira. So, one of the ones they made. Yep. So, plus you can have size appropriate rooms for various races. Yes, that's true too. But halflings don't want to eliminate human, they want to have sizes so the humans can get in there and drink too, I think.
Well, if it's humans they cater for business-wise, and that makes a good sense, then of course they need to. So meaning formal inns are business establishment. They will go where the money is. But then you have these kind of more informal inns that are just someone who can cater for strangers that comes on the road, so to speak. So they can be a little bit less business savvy, and some of them might even just be for company or seeking information and just want to lure strangers in just to listen to and see who's traveling in the land, and not for nefarious purposes necessarily, but more for like keeping an eye on who's traveling. And one of the other interesting things is like what do in dwarven inns? Do dwarves have inns, and do dwarves have long roads in mountains and stuff, and do they have inns along the way? Meaning the fantasy world full of interesting. What would Drow Inn would be in early Sinlu or something like that? What would that
there's
be?
a number of them.
They're described in early Sinlu, and I would not want to go to any of them. There's like poison bars and stuff like. Oh my god!
Exactly. But you can kind of, there's a lot of interesting things you can run wild with, so to speak, in a fantasy world. That kind of
There's a name in Valuna where Mel spent the night with a waitress. Cool.
Yeah, that is a it's actually furry undie, but it's it is very amusing. But
we have to ask Luke about that.
Yeah. Absolutely,
we do.
Get back on the show.
Gygax was a little double entendre with some of the stuff with Melf in that inn. So.
Okay. Yep.
I would say yes. Traveling deities would allow overstays of worshippers in their absolutely Farlang and Celestian.
Yeah, I was just going to say Farlang. That's an interesting possibility.
Yeah,
is that something that Farlang clerics or priests would do? Would they run establishment like Farlang temples would be inns basically to guide and help travelers going?
So would all of Damara, I think, too. Traveling minstrel, the road.
I could definitely see the Farlang Church as being a series of inns in order to facilitate and help travelers and seek a safe haven and stuff like that, and preach his message and show in practice that he's there to protect travelers. I can definitely see that.
So everyone who's new in the last hour, 4 giveaways in print reprints of courtesy of Patrick, the original book of Taverns, Necromancer Games, by Chris Jones. And there's a 2 and a 3 available on the Frog God Games site as well. Also, the Shady Dragon Inn. Okay, and then 2, and this is only the 5e edition, not this. This is the old school. The 5e edition of this, which has the new singing what the heck is it? Oh my God, singing siren in it, which is like kind of like a communal. Gaxmore was destroyed or whatever. It's pretty neat. So Gaxmore 5e, 2 digital copies of that. So we'll do 4 giveaways tonight. I just want to let everyone know. So, what I really love about this whole discussion tonight is, we're getting a lot of input from the audience, and that's fantastic as always. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Yeah.
There's one inn I'd like to mention because it's a little different. It's the Acorns. Now, in the Saga of Old City, it is one of the oldest inns in Greyhawk. It's outside of Old City in the Southern University District, and it's where Gord and Sen, his companion, hide after the war with the thieves, the Beggars'
2 years, right? During like 2 years.
So this tavern existed, this inn existed before the walls were built, except for Old City. So Old City is up to the east and on a rise, and this is below it, in the what would have been leading up. It's like a tavern on its way to what was originally Greyhawk. And there's a tree that's been there for centuries in the back. And what it does is it caters to the university students.
Yeah, that's when they were studying. That was their period as students. Yeah.
And then the next floor has rooms, and the upper floor is one big room that either would have been a common room, where if you really didn't have money, you could put your bedroll down on the floor, and but Gord and Sen rent the whole room, and the whole top floor becomes theirs, and they live there for a few years, and they they get a tutor who either comes to them or they go to him, but then Gord eventually actually goes to Grey University, and that is in the University District. It's and it is an old inn. It's not an inn for merchants. It's not an inn for adventurers. But if you needed to study something or to hire somebody, a sage, that is the place to go. So we have this inn. It's a little bit different, and that's one of the things you find in the city of Greyhawk. Like there's a place called the Flame Inn, which I use for the Lamplighters Guild, and so there are so many variations of inns all through there, and I would say probably every business type. There's an adventurer's inn. There's merchants inns. There's the bakers inns where all the bakers come and hang out. So you can find all these specialty inns from small to big, all these rich, classy places that are up in the high quarter, and there's actually a strip between the market, the garden quarter, and the high quarter, where there's a whole strip there where the best, most expensive inns, taverns, brothels that are all up there. And then you have the actual thing called the strip, where there are all these low-level gambling houses and taverns and drinking parlors. So throughout Greyhawk, you find not only like a general inn, but all these specialized ones that are there too.
Yeah, that's the cool thing. In big cities, and especially big cities that have a good economy, then you have a large stratification between inns and establishments that cater for the ultra super rich. Then you might need special membership and pay enormous bribes and stuff like that just to get through the door to these really lowly places where you, if you dressed properly, they would not let you. They would not open the door for you, so to speak.
It's as Gary said, this has been one big infomercial, which is kind of cool.
Yep.
So what's that say? Bard's Gate, also from Necromancer City. Yeah, Bard's Gate is cool. You use that for Neural. That's a good idea.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
Yep.
I got Bard's Gate too. It's a thick, it's a nice thick book. So
both of them are good. There's a Necromancer version, and then there's a gigantic Frog God Games version that the Frog God version is gigantic. It's just 3 or 4 times the size of the original.
Awesome.
Yep. I had in my Reldevin campaign, I had in, let's see if I can find it. It was in a little that was in a small place called Fern, that they had an inn that their specialty was cockatrice, deep fried cockatrice. so they had they had cockatrice in an aviary in the back, so to speak, and there was like a tarpaulin in front, so you wouldn't go and peek, and then there was like a sign saying "Don't peek," and some characters, of course, had to peek, but I think he made his save, so that was kind of funny. So that is speciality is there was like mech cockatrice, so to speak. So it was deep fried cockatrice.
They should have that. There's an inn in Greyhawk called the Blind Basilisk. So they should have that.
Yeah, and I think there was a Living Greyhawk adventure where they had the Inn of the Golden Arches.
Oh my gosh! There's a place called Applebee's too. So.
Yep. We need to remove that. But the Golden Arches. So if you want to have a McDonald's franchise in your campaign, then you can name it the Golden Arches. Yeah.
Michael's.
There's a lot of bad ones. There's the Bates complex.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Like
well, you have White Castle could be a chain too. So you could, if you want to go cheesy, so to speak. Yeah.
All right. So lastly, and this is funny you brought this up. So there's a difference between a really an establishment that caters to the poor and or a rough and tumble establishment. I think there's a little bit of a differance between the two.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. So everyone knows that I have multiple types of establishments in Altamira, and the rough and tumble one is the Salty Dog. Okay. And the Salty Dog, we're in there a lot during oh gosh, Hooters, yes.
That's awesome, Rich.
Yeah. So Mike, Fuddruckers is in business. They're just not in business around here. They're in business in other places in the United States still. They're just not in business where we live anymore. So the Salty Dog is where all the lower end mercenary groups go, and the workers that and the people who live in the Tent City area. It's on the southern part. Yeah, it's still Fuddruckers still open. In the southern part of Altamira, and there's always fights going on, and it smells like piss when you walk in. And the Altamira Enforcers, which is these guys up here, the thug-like adventuring group, is always there causing trouble. So that is where I start off a lot of groups in my Greyhawk in the Salty Dog, which is a song by a group called Procol Harum from the 60s, if you must know. Don't know why we thought that was cool, but we did. And then here's our high-end establishment, as you can see. This is Vineyard Gardens, where there's bookshelves and there's wine racks out, and there's a nice fire, and there's private catering, and we've had engagement announcements. And I started the Falcon fundraiser in Vineyard Gardens. The characters aren't out yet in this, but this was I think from that adventure. As you can see, look, there's gardens out here, and there's a second bar out in the courtyard. So, yeah, Red Rock. So, actually, Gary, I don't know if you were on, but Dr. Faust said he was going to, a good idea was the Crimson Roof Inn instead of the Red Roof Inn as a chain. I thought that was hysterical. And there's meeting rooms in the back, and that's Vineyard Gardens. And I have some other places. The Violet-Eyed Lady is a place. It's named after a very pretentious gray elf in my campaign. That Bill's character Kruk has a fascination for, and Kruk is a half ogre, and I think we did start in a Violet-Eyed Lady just recently too. So there's places all over. So Altamira, I have to think about 6 establishments documented, and there's room for others. Of course, there's probably more than 6 if there's between 5,000 and 10,000 people in the city now. But I got to get it all worked up at some point and get it to a level of detail that's sufficient if I'm going to move forward beyond that. I think we went through all the ones that are in my campaign I wanted to discuss. And look at that, it's 10 of. My gosh, the time has flown by. But note that here, let me go back here. With detail comes, once again, you can be as little or as grandly detailed as you want. Like here's from a view from above the downtown area of Altamira, and you can see the inn is back here, and a lot of the business establishments in the markets here. Remember, the week before last, we had a big fight in the market during the, joust. The Grand Meal was going at the same time. Anna and Mike Disney jumped in last second because I had a couple of call outs, which was fun, and so did Tim. And and this is cities are developed, we just got to move on beyond that. So Fictional Inn is the Vulgar Unicorn from Thieves' World. That's a good one too.
Oh.
That's a good one too. Robert Ashburn's books are fantastic. So very, very cool there, Lomas. Skeletons drink for free at the In and Out, and that's funny. They're rich. So the Comeback Inn, Blackmore. That's a good one, Troy. Is that is that in the Blackmore reference book, or
I think it's in the DA module.
The Jolly Cork and Zimbia.
Okay. Yep.
Janus Rest and where is that? Telemanschloss. I don't even know where that is. Where is that, Mac?
Oh,
go ahead, Jason.
No, I don't know. I just wanted to bring up one of the few we've dealt with the Flyness. There's actually in one of the Gord books in Sea of Death a Backloonish inn called the Dar Peshawar, and so you get a little example of a different kind of inn or tavern or establishment there, where it turns all of a sudden from an inn and dancing girls till there's suddenly a slave auction going on, and then a huge fight breaks out, and and it describes like the people in that because it's in Ket, where there are all these people from all over Backloonish, but also because Ket brings in all these people from the Flyness, and so this mixed crowd, kind of like little Casablanca going there with the idea of having this mixed group of people with very big animosities among each other there in Ket and La Pala, the capital of Ket, and it's wonderfully. There's not a huge amount of description, but that bit of it and fight is wonderfully described in Sea of Death.
Cool, and I don't think we talked. We talked about a couple, but we may have. I know you're probably you were holding back a little bit there, Jason, for all of these all these great books and how much. I can't wait to get to. I've been so busy. I'm still stuck on Sea of Death. So, and the great thing is that need to cut my internet for a little bit. No problem. We're gonna do giveaways in a second here, Loaz, just so you're aware. But I wonder how many inns and taverns are actually mentioned in all these books combined.
Oh, 50 or so or something. Yeah.
I forgot. There's the current program I'm using from the index doesn't give me the numbers, but I used to be able to just look and see how many. So I could actually tell you and work out how many there are. There are dozens mentioned. I don't think there are hundreds, but there are dozens of inns and taverns and those kind of places that are mentioned in all the various references. The book and all the material that came out about Greyhawk. So there are plenty of inns, and probably the most is City of Greyhawk mentions the most, but there are inns and taverns mentioned all over the place.
Yes. And there's no right or wrong way to run them. And take them from published source and edit them, use them directly as from published source. Go and utilize from any of these references that they have.
Definitely.
Including, like I said, Patrick was kind enough to supply these, and also get Book of Taverns 2 and 3 to a couple of us in PDF, which we really appreciated for utilization.
Yep.
And those are all available on Frog God's site. And Frog God's not an official sponsor of the channel, but they do sponsor the Fantasy Mapping Show with Alyssa and Anna on Friday nights. So there's Frog God, and note that Troll Lord has 2 giveaways tonight because Chuck always is jumping on things there, and I know we always get 15% off any time from Frog God, even if you don't have any other coupon. If you use that Lord Gazumba code at any point, it doesn't stack with others, but if you don't have a code to use, that's the one you always use. You get 15% off all the time. So hope you enjoyed this discussion tonight. We're gonna, it was. We bounce around a lot and talk, but there's so many different ways to utilize taverns in your game, from actually having fights in them to actually having political intrigue or hire them, or just as a base of operations. There's just so many options. It's a really cool thing. Troll Lord. Yeah, thank you. 50% off for Troll Lord all the time. Sorry, got too much going on in my brain again. 3,300. Wow, 336 inns in your index, Jason. Would you ever have thought that?
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
No, actually, wow, that's more than I thought.
Wow.
Wow, that is awesome. Yeah.
Anyone know if Kayla, Time Lord's wife, she's still running, and she's running late, so she has, normally she'd be raiding into us, but they're still going. I don't know how long they're going. I don't want to cross raid, so someone can check and see how much more time they got. I'd appreciate it. All right, so keep the suggestions coming in chat, and let's do some quickie shout outs here. Jason, what's going on, man? Yeah, I know she's on Scott, but how long? Yeah. Go ahead, Jason. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, as mentioned, I'm still going through the Gourd books, reading, commenting, and that is generally from Friday night through Monday night, and on Wednesday night, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. on Discord, the Greyhawk Cannon Fire Discord. You can come, you can listen. If you don't mind your voice being recorded, you can speak up and ask questions, participate, or you can, if you don't want to be on the tape, then you could just write it in. I'll read it out and just be part of what we're doing. It is the book, but the books are there to provide context for us to take them apart and find out all the lore, all of the interesting things, description that Gygax does, and then also about some commentary on the story. But mainly, these are such great resources for lore. Other than that, I've got a couple projects. I've taken up an old one that I was doing called Blackmoor, Land of 1,000 Witches. And it's a different take on Blackmoor. I use some stuff from Lovecraft, from science fiction, and from Finnish mythology. And it is a place that is, in my campaign, the strongest structure there is this group called the Sisterhood. And they're all these women who are either witches or else they're various kinds of magic users, clerics, but they're also supported by fighters. And it's not even an organization, it's that's all women. They're allies and supporters, and who are men, centaurs. There's all kinds of things going on up there. So that's one of the big projects I'm working on. There's a lot of different things going on, but you can find them on the Cannon Fire website.
I'm linking it now. So Cannon Fire website and Discord, and we're still going to utilize this Virtual Greyhawk Discord as well. Oh, that was the wrong button there. I hit the wrong button finally. So there you go. Awesome, Jason. I know everyone's very appreciative of your Gourd readings. It's awesome. And keep up the great work and with that, and it's very exciting because I know you guys are finding out a lot of cool little tidbits here and there, which is really fantastic.
We just found out another little tidbit about the Rene by reading the Weird Occurrence in Odd Alley. So it's a little more information about how to run the Rene character. There's probably the Gourd books are your best source of information about the Rene. Which are, one of the things that you can use within the setting as a people rather than a nation.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that's awesome. We need to have a Rene Legends and Lore at some point too. We should. Anna, what is up? Thank you.
There's a lot of things. The main thing I'm working on right now is to get the Flanny's 2021 update underway, and I'm making really good progress on the terrain map, so to speak. So I'm going to spend a couple of more weeks, I think at least up until the first week in November, to work on the terrain map, so to speak. I did the Isle of Dread; it's almost done. So I gave my patrons a little sneak peek, and I also got on the Cannon Fire Discord chat last night. I posted a little sneak peek on the Isle of Dread, and I think it's cool. It's not the perfect end of all version of Isle of Dread, but it's the version that fits into my Flanny's map. So there will be a lot of expansion to it, which is kind of cool. After 20 years, it's finally time to expand it. So it's being expanded south and north and stuff. So we'll see how much there will be time to get in another couple of weeks. So we'll see. And then I have to cut it off and start working on all the settlements and stuff like that. So in November, December. And then so then we have the Asher. Yeah, you're right. The new heraldry update. one of my pet projects have been for years to wanted to do the real heraldry, so to speak, not these kind of just illustrations of the heraldry, but what would the shields really look like, and so touch them up. And I felt that now I have the enough Photoshop skills to pull that off. So I started to do some tests and gave that to my patrons and others to look at like a week ago. And I got a lot of good feedback from it. So I polished them a little bit more. And now I have probably about half a dozen ready to go. And that will be my live stream on Friday. Will be, I think it will be Friday. Yep. It will be heraldry. So I thought doing like a bunch of them in 2 hours. There will be maybe 3 or 4 depending on which ones. It depends. Some of them are trickier than others, so to speak, because they have to be kind of, they're done using a template and some common techniques and resources, but they all have to be individually tweaked in order to look cool, so to speak. So we add some wear and tear and blend things together, and some of the illustrations on them are kind of bad, so need to be updated and stuff. So it's kind of, it's tedious but a lot of fun, and they take between 10 minutes and an hour each. So my goal is to get them all in there, plus some extra. I have a whole bunch of heraldry for my campaign that is in the early stages, so to speak, and some of them are done, so I'm going to introduce them gradually. They're more humanoid heraldry, they're old faith heraldry, and old flan heraldry, and some other cool stuff that I want to add in. So heraldry has become something that I'm really into now. I just love doing heraldry. It's so much fun.
The shields look unbelievable. Look so realistic.
Oh, thank you. Oh yeah, that was the idea too. So they look like they were taken from the world. So
oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, they just look, that is like night and day. I mean, look, they even look better than the real shield right here. I mean,
I tried to make them like banged up.
Yeah,
and they will be different banged up. Some of them will be nice and shiny, and some of them will be more banged up than others and stuff. So it's kind of fun, and I want to develop some more of them. Then another pet project coming is I want to do banners and battle standards to go with this.
That is awesome too.
That's something for because the good thing of having one of these, I would call them side projects, is that it's not huge. You can kind of, if I feel like I need to do something else for a little bit, I can just dig into something. It's a half-hour, 10-minute project. The difficulty with these things is to set up the Photoshop templates and stuff. That takes a while, and figure out how to do it. And meaning just to create the background shield template and stuff, that took a day or something like that to do it. Once that is done, you can mass produce them without too much fuss, so to speak. And I have to develop a wooden one, for instance, and some of the other shields, because not all shields should be in metal. When I get down to the Hetmona land and the almond shields and others should be wooden shields and stuff. So there will be some variance to it down the line. So those are the 2 big things right now. And then on the sideline, I will put my own campaign stuff a little bit on the back burner. Most of the content is already done, so that I need to run right now. So there will be a little bit of background work and a lot of rendering. So there will be a lot of basic rendering done. So I have that kind of built up, so I can continue and make a huge in spring when I'm too tired of GIS. Then I will start expanding more in the Shieldlands area too. So those are, and again, thank you so much to everyone who helps me do this. So I just try to as much as possible. So
Virtual GrowCon momentum is continuing, and I appreciate it. And every night we see new names in. I've seen like 5 to 8 new names in here tonight, and thank you so very much for that. Really appreciate it. Actually participating in chat, and we're continuing.
Yeah,
I think it's
awesome fun.
I mean, Kayla's got 54 people on now, and a lot of those are regulars who watch in the show here that aren't on now, and we have 100 viewers, so it's really going. It's going well. So all right, let me run through this real quick. What's going on next week? So let's start with the Wednesday night. Do you want to know who Lagozid is? Do you want to know who Samanya is? Do you want to know who Nomog Gaia is? Well, you're going to find out on Tuesday night. Wednesday night, Jesus to me. Humanoid deities. All right, and we'll hit myself, Anna, and Mike, as long as Mike's okay, because he has, that's what we're going to do on Legends of the Lore this week, is hit us up on all those new and old. Osprey is not a humanoid deity, though, Mid.
No, not really.
No. Now, Beltar. Now, Beltar's a monster deity for so we're gonna go on to.
And there's some borderline ones too. So some
Gestalt and Ishtar. I don't know. Humanoid deity is this? I don't.
No, not really. I think that the Lord Bressin will probably agree that.
Yeah.
But apart from that, so no.
Yeah, no. So we'll go over those that are in Raxavort and all the other fun ones that are out there. So
okay, there was Rich that had that comment. So okay,
yeah,
now
of course.
Now I get it where you come from.
Yeah, I think I did these in reverse. I should just be able to hit this button here, and the next one will be up. Okay. Thursday night, Portents of a Great Apocalypse. My introduction to the reworking of the awful Doom Grinder into my own theories, tied in with a Greenwood Salacra God Trap, tied in with Salen from Greyhawk, all of it tied in together. And I'm talking long term, so it may be 10 to 12 to 15 years before it comes to fruition. Too bad. That's the way I do things, everyone. It's not going to happen in 3 weeks, but some of the tidbits are coming out now as I rework this out and start it up, and we'll see where that goes. So Gamescape 3D sponsor giveaways that night for some cool STLs. Plus, Bill's got, here's, I think I have it here. You want to see, there you go. That is, and we'll show this again on Sunday night, and I'll discuss that, but there's a Build-A-Master Crafter Craft. That is a witch's hut, and that's going to be for the week after Thursday for the Mysteries of the Overgourd Halloween special, which is in 2 Thursdays. So just note that that's being worked on by Bill.
That looks like a cool inn.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yes, it's going to be something cool there. So, George, is as deep as I can go, based on the lore that I have. And I know a lot about a lot of the humanoid deities. I've used them extensively, and I just, whoops. See, this is what happens when I hit too many buttons. We disappeared for about 10 seconds as I'm trying to open up too much. Yeah, it's fine. All right, so let me go to the next one. And I got to bring them up. Yeah, all right. Next Sunday. So it's only a 3-stream week. Yay! I don't have Dr. Faust's logo yet. It'll go in that other spot there, but painting and crafting techniques. So it'll be myself. I'll just be sitting back and watching and modding for Dr. Faust, Mike Disney, and Bill. And they're going to talk about dry brushing, talk about what you do for 3D prints with whether resin or PLA, crafting terrain, tricks on crafting, tricks on painting, mass painting miniatures, whatever questions you have, they'll answer. We will think to throw in a crafting stream every 3 months or so, and this will be our next one. I think it'll be a fun time, and just so many of you out there I know have 3D printers now and are avid Reaper Bones collectors, right, Jason? You too. So,
that's right.
Yes. Yeah. So. There'll be a lot of good stuff. I haven't read that by T.H. Lane, Greyhawk Bard. That's cool. I'll have to check that out. So that'll be next Sunday. And then 2 other things I want to November 6th will be the next Saturday night special. Ed Greenwood makes his triumphant return as Ravalantar, the Greyhawk Mage of I believe is he Nystel? I think he's Drummage. Ed Greenwood, Tony Winslow Brill, who wrote Xanthoria, Anna's playing in it, Stella's playing in it, the Eric Boyd once again playing in it, and Mike Disney is the special guest. Eric Menke cannot make it due to conflict. I have asked one other person to join. He has not said yes yet. So if we go with 6, we go with 6. Hey, so be it. But if the other person joins in, it'll be a blast. I'm still working on that. That is Saturday, November 6th. Daylight saving time happens in the middle of that night.
Oh.
Right, ends, right? And then lastly, the week after, I have a new player Saturday night special where 4 of the 6 have never played in my game before. 5 of the 6 are also female players. So it'll be a very interesting group. I have the Mandy, who she DM'd during Greyhawk Con. I have a real good friend, Myriad X. If you've seen them a lot of times playing together, Darling Creepshow. She's actually, I think, streaming now. Yes, and Little Bones, who is on a lot, watching our Thursday night games and streams as well, along with Josh Zarathon, who's thrown in there as, I guess, the beat up on person. Yes, so it'll be a fun time on that one. So I have back-to-back Saturday night specials in November for you all. And I'm looking forward to it back to back. This one will be like both adventures will be like 3rd and 4th level in those 2 weeks. So I'm not gonna throw them the wolves with 7th, 8th level characters in this group. So note that. Oh, thank you, Nylar Tep. Thank you so very much. I wish shit would show up tonight. All right, so let me get off of this screen. Let's do the giveaways and get out, and then rating it. And we're rating the Kayla. Thank you all for a great show. 105 people on. Wonderful. So thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
Last call. Program. I loved. So believe it or not, Troy Cannibal.
That is awesome.
There was an Arthur Treacher's Fish and Chips in Highport. There was. Okay, for you back when we Tim and I did one-on-one adventuring. That's not the one I couldn't discuss the name of, but yes, we had an Arthur Treacher's. Oh, thank you, Jake. Jake Hop. Please, hopefully you come back. I stream every regulars Wednesday night, Thursday night, Wednesday night talk show, Thursday night game, Sunday night talk show, and then a Saturday night special once a month roughly, and then Friday night with Anna and Alyssa Faden on Fridays once a month. Okay, last call. Here we go. I'm going to close it out. I've talked enough. Right, Jason? I've babbled enough tonight. My voice is almost dead.
No, that was great.
It was a great discussion tonight. We're having, it's not possible. The community's not. It's not possible without the community support. I want to say thank you.
Exactly. Yep.
We're moving along, and hey, hopefully things will break shortly. Here we go. Now you get your choice. Okay. Either one of these two in print, or that which you see now, the 5th edition Lost City of Gaxmore, which has the Great Inn, the singing siren in it, and it's been rewritten from the 1st edition one. All right, and those two are those two are digital. I'll give you the digital codes. Chuck's giving them to me, or I'll mail you one of these. 4 giveaways. Here we go. First winner. Bloodwild. Congrats, Bloodwild. What do you want, Bloodwild? I know you're still on. I know that I saw Bloodwild on.
Yeah, I've seen him on.
There you go.
There he goes.
Book of Taverns. There you go. Thank you, Patrick, Canadian Ancient Gamer, for that. I got you. And Bloodwild, almost positive I have your address, so we're good. All right, second winner. Hager. Man, Hager's on a roll, too. Hager, Shady Dragon in reprint, or one of the 2 downloads. You just tell me, Hager, the horrible. Let me know. I think you are on 2. I don't see Hager on now. Did Hager have to bail? Hager may have had to bail. All right, so if Hager does not call in, get in by the end, then we're going to keep on going here. So next winner. I don't see him in the chat listing. Nylar Tep. There you go. Thank you. Yeah, I rigged that because he just cheered. I'm just kidding. So Nylar Tep. What do you want, Nylar Tep? Yes. Pick.
Yep.
Hey, almost everyone wins something sometime. Do you want this, or do you want one of the downloads of the Lost City of Gaxmore 5th edition? Your call. You just let me know, Nylar Tep, in there as I continue. All right, next winner. You got the shade. Wiley. There you go, Wiley. Nylar Tep. Shady. Nylar Tep.
Awesome.
Whisper me your full name and address in Twitch chat, please. I know I don't have it, so that I can ship that. Grats, Wiley. All right, so Wiley, you get the new 5th edition download. I have your Discord. I can just put the code right in there for you, and we're gonna do one more because I think Hager's not on. So DL Gaxmore. All right. Oh, my pleasure. Hey, I could do it without the community support and the sponsors too. Just the sponsors are so important. We have great sponsors here. And the last winner, Cap'n Ron, another new winner for the first time. There you go, Captain Ron. I know I saw you on too, and you were asking some great questions. Yep. See, everyone wins here. So Captain Ron, I will give. I will whisper it in here. Unless I have a Discord I can reach you on that we're in common. I'll give you your Gaxmore code. Remember, you got to go to Trollord Games and put it into your basket, and then use the code, and you'll get it for free. Okay, so I will get that to you tonight, Wiley and Cap, and thank you. And I will mail out to Bloodwild and the Nyarlathotep the other ones. And let's raid into Kayla. And please hang out if you can, lurk. Give her a massive audience. I know she's running through her game, her Stride game. It's going very well, and she does a lot of Greyhawk work. And Kayla is playing in that game as one of the people that has played in my game before on the 13th with the other women that are new, kind of as my calming feature there, that she knows what she's doing already to help out. So I asked her to play in that game. All right, so thank you, everyone. And Lomas, I got your address, so I'll be sending out that shirt finally to you tomorrow as well. What a great show. Jason, Anna, thanks. Thanks for making it such a
thank you, everyone in chat.
Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate it, and we're going to and thank you, Chuck from Troll Lord too, as they always step up whenever, all the time, and give us a lot of great freebies. We'll see you Wednesday night for a great discussion on Humanoid Chat. I know there's games going. Paraland's on Monday. We got stuff going on. I think Dwayne's on Monday. I think we got Blue Box on Tuesday. Got a lot going on in the community. It's a great thing. And Orinir's Tuesday morning. Gary, your game with Orinir in T Grey League is on Tuesday morning as well. I think they're continuing that game too. So here we go. I'm going to set this raid up, and I'm going to have to figure out what's happening with my shout outs tonight. So thanks, Mitch. And Mitch, hope you're doing all right, man. Good to see you, Zombie Mitch. Really appreciate your support. All right, setting up the raid to go into Kayla. Time Lord's wife. Almost to 6,500 followers. Thank you, everyone. Getting there. All right, let's see. I'd love to see 80. We may have double viewers, though. We may have some that are here already and that are over there. So we'll probably get in the 75 range. 77. Awesome. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. See you Wednesday night. 78 is great.
Yeah, it's
Are they? Oh, they're on a break.
Uh-oh.
All right, let me see here. That's okay. All righty, let me finish broadcast here.